6 months ago, you were running field operations across states, tracking high-value targets for Langley's top brass. Today, you are logging the license plates of every 2012 Honda Civic that went through an Arby's drive-thru in Cleveland. Welcome to Outpost 31, a windowless strip mall in suburban Virginia that smells permanently like microwaved fish and something worse. And that is your new commanding officer, Director Miller, a man who allegedly once toppled a regime in Eastern Europe, but now spends his working hours sleeping off hangovers. He tosses a crumpled, greasy napkin at your $2,000 suit. Stop daydreaming. I need the VIN numbers on those Civics by lunch, or I'm making you clean the coffee maker. You don't respond. You already know the routine. The assignments don't matter. That's the point. You sit back, stare at the screen, and try not to think about the mission, the one that put you here. You were the point man. Your target, a rogue defense contractor holding a stolen drive with the identities of every CIA informant in the Middle East. You had to grab him before he boarded a train. You were locked in, moving like a ghost through the crowd. In your earpiece was Langley's top analyst. He was tracking the target via facial recognition. He barks in your ear. Target is at platform 4. White male, gray hoodie, blue baseball cap. Take him down now. Your gut told you the guy in the black hat was the target, but the analyst started screaming in your ear to trust the algorithm. You had 2 seconds to decide. You ignored your gut. You trusted the tech. You hit the man in the blue hat like a freight train, zip-tying his hands behind his back in front of 300 screaming tourists. But as you pulled him up, you looked to your left. The man in the black hat, the real target, gave you a little salute, stepped onto the train, and vanished. The ride back to Langley was a funeral march. You were prepared to be fired, maybe even a tribunal. You sat in interrogation room for 6 hours waiting for the hammer to fall, but the deputy director just slid a folder across the desk. Pack a box. You report to Director Miller in Virginia. As you finish your shift today, staring blindly at grainy security footage for 10 hours in a row, you can't help but question, why did they send you here? Until Miller walks in and barks, "Stop drooling over the keyboard. I have a new job for you, and it might just explain why you're still employed." Miller drops a massive external hard drive on your broken desk. Langley's fancy new facial recognition toy, the same that got you in trouble, cost the Pentagon $4 billion. But it generates about 10,000 false positives a day. The algorithm isn't smart enough to empty its own trash. Suddenly, the last 6 months make sense. If they fired you, there would be an investigation. And you knew too much about the agency's most expensive mistake. If it surfaces, the heads of Langley's top brass would fall. So they had to bury you. Your new job? You are essentially a human Captcha. You have to manually review thousands of blurry CCTV photos of random pedestrians that the algorithm flagged by mistake, and click a button that says, "Not a threat." For 2 weeks, you fall into a trance. You are a highly lethal intelligence operative, spending your prime years confirming that a middle school math teacher from Ohio is not a Syrian warlord. It's an end of your shift on a Thursday. You are about to click the same button for the 1,000th time. The AI flagged a random pedestrian, a completely unremarkable guy in a gray fleece jacket standing near a subway vent. The computer scanned his face, found 0 criminal records, and threw the photo in the trash. It sees a guy waiting for a bus. But the algorithm only looks at facial geometry. It doesn't understand human behavior. You do. You look at the timestamps on the footage. This guy has been standing there for 45 minutes. 4 buses have come and gone. He hasn't boarded any of them. He's staring at his phone, but his thumb hasn't moved. The screen isn't even illuminated. He's using the black glass as a mirror to watch the reflection of the transit cops patrolling behind him. And the way he's standing, he's pacing out the exact distance between the structural support pillars of the terminal. He's conducting hostile pre-attack surveillance. He is measuring police response times and calculating the blast radius needed to collapse the street level into the subway tunnels. The flawless, multi-billion-dollar AI just let a catastrophic domestic attack slip through as a false positive, and the only person in the entire intelligence apparatus who knows about it is you. You do what any good agent is trained to do. You follow the chain of command. You print the grainy screenshots, walk into Miller's office and lay out the evidence. The pacing, the reflections, the hostile surveillance at a major transit hub. You tell him the AI missed a clean skin, a ghost with no known criminal record. Miller stares at the photos for 5 long seconds. Then, he wipes the sugar off the paper and slides it back to you. It's a guy waiting for a bus. You plead with him. You tell him to at least call the analytics desk. Miller laughs. If I call Langley and tell them the guy who crippled a pedestrian thinks there is a major attack coming, they won't just ignore us. They'll pull our funding for the coffee machine. Get back to your desk and click the button. You walk out of the office. You have 2 choices. You can let whatever this guy is planning happen, or you can commit a massive felony by conducting an unsanctioned domestic operation with 0 authority. You walk out of the stuffy Outpost 31 and put whatever is left of your career on the line. There is no tactical backup. There are no black SUVs. You pop the trunk of a dented 2012 Ford Taurus, grab a heavy iron tire wrench, and tuck it into your jacket. You have 3 hours until the evening rush hour hits that subway terminal. For the first time in 6 months, you are off the clock. It's a rush hour. Thousands of commuters are pouring into the transit hub. You move down the crowded subway escalator, blending into the crowd. You aren't looking for a face. You are looking for an anomaly. Someone walking against the flow of traffic. Someone looking at the cameras instead of the train schedules. And there he is, the ghost the AI missed. He's dropping a heavy canvas backpack at the structural weak point you identified earlier. He steps away, slipping a burner phone out of his pocket. If he makes a call and that bag detonates, the street above collapses. You have about 10 seconds to stop him without causing a mass panic. You step into his blind spot, moving with total fluid precision. You slip your arm around his neck, applying a carotid restraint so smooth it looks like you're just hugging an old friend. The man goes unconscious in 4 seconds. The crowd around you doesn't even notice. You casually lower him to a bench, quietly scoop up the backpack, and drag the sleeping terrorist toward the service elevator. You didn't call the police. You drove straight to Langley, bypassed security with your old clearance codes, and kicked open the deputy director's door. The analyst who pushed the algorithm is sitting there, looking pale and terrified. You just dropped a live explosive and an invisible terrorist on his $10,000 rug. You look at the analyst. Your $4 billion calculator missed him. He's a clean skin. But the guy you banished to a strip mall caught him with a tire wrench and a Ford Taurus. It is the most satisfying moment of your life. You saved thousands of lives. You proved the machine wrong. You expect a medal. You expect your old badge back. But the CIA doesn't reward embarrassment. If they admit you saved the day, they have to admit to Congress that the $4.2 billion AI is a catastrophic failure. So they classified the case. And they sent you right back to the basement. You didn't get your life back. But as you look around the empty strip mall office, you realize something. AI might run the agency now. But when the machine fails, they still need you to clean up the mess. You take a sip of stale coffee, turn back to your dusty monitor, and get back to work.